And we will go to our presenter, Jordan Stonebraker.
Thank you for coming. Like you said, I'm Mr. Stonebraker. I've been here at PA Virtual. This will be my 4th year. And whenever I had the opportunity to do this little summer program, I wanted to find something that you would be able to participate in with some of the supplies you have at home. I have a little softball here. I'll show you with a frisbee and a broom, and then just some of our own body movements for a long jump and triple jump demonstration. So I do apologize if I'm squinting at you. I'm looking straight into the sun so that the camera doesn't have to be in the sun. We're just going to be using my backyard here. It's quite hot and there's no clouds, so I'll probably be squinting at you the whole time. I hope everybody can hear me well enough. If you can't, because I'm going to be backing away from the camera back and forth, I'll try to speak up. But if you can't hear me, please just type it in the chat and our moderator will let me know, okay? So to start, like I said, I wanted something that you can participate in at home, but it can be something that you're going to be able to transition, if you would like to actually participating in the sport, maybe at your local school district. So this is a real basic, real bottom line intro. So I'm just going to show you some proper handholds for equipment, proper technique, but I'm not going to go real deep into it because if I did, it'd be an hour per event. So I just want to give you a real baseline to see if it's something that you might like to do and something you might be able to practice with yourself, your family, maybe your friends or your brother or sister. So if there's anybody there today that's kind of have multiple people with you, you can definitely practice by tossing the things back and forth to each other. For me, I'm on my own. I'm not going to make the nice camera lady follow me around and chuck a ball back at me. So I'm going to be try to be a little more creative so that I'm not just chasing equipment back and forth in the yard and wasting your time watching me walk. So we're going to start off with shot put. So for that, I have this little foam softball. You can use a really any ball about this size, a baseball, a little toy football if you need, or a soccer ball. But so I just have this. It's roughly the size of what would be a youth shot put. Now the one I had to use in college was a little bit bigger. It was about 16 pounds. They can range anywhere from in real life from 8 to 16 pounds, give or take, depending on your age range and your whether you're in male or female track and field. So we're going to start off real easy. I'm just going to show you one. What I'm going to do is, because this is so light, I'm just going to toss it up on my roof and let it roll back to me. I'm going to try and show you the proper technique. So you put the shot put in your hand, and I'll show you closer up after I show you a full one. What we're going to do, you put it in your neck. I'm going to face this way. And as you rotate around, show you first, I'm going to place my feet, rotate down. I'm going to shoot up off my legs as I rotate, keep my chest high and forward. And I'm going to put the shot put out away from me. You want to, it's called shot put because you're putting the shot out away from your body. So it's shot put throw because, well, like I said, they're heavy and you'll destroy your rotator cuff pretty much first attempt. So my back's going to be a little bit to you so that we keep the sun out of the camera since I'm right-handed. So get it in your neck, land it, rotate it down, and just go up. So I just shot it up on my roof. It'll go back to me. Now, of course, if you have a heavy shot put or a 2-story house, or you live in an apartment building, can't really do that option. So you might have to be chasing yours back and forth. But for me, this works. Now, to start, we're going to go with hand placement. So I'm going to come in close to the camera. Now, so you have your palm of your hand. You don't want it in the palm. You do that, you won't have control of the release because your fingers won't be on it. If you go too high, you have great control with your fingers at first, but it's heavy. So if you try to push it, it's going to bend your fingers back, and you're just going to drop it. So you want it right here among the pads of your fingers. You're going to place it in, and you're going to cradle it in your fingers like that. So that gives you both the control and sturdiness of your palm, but also the directional ability of your fingers. You're going to do that. You place it right in your neck. You want your elbow up high, because if you put your elbow down, whenever you try to put it out, you're just going to throw it straight. It's not going to go far. If you put your elbow up high, that allows you to be able to go up and out at about a 45-degree angle. So that gives you both the up handy out because shot putting is a distance event. You want to be able to throw it as far as you can. Now for the feet, for shot putting usually, so you have the two basic techniques, which I will show, but we're not going to do them for today. So you might see in shot put them rotate like this, and then they spin and throw. That's a very difficult technique to master, and we're not going to do that today. Now you also have the high school shuffle, as most people refer to it, where you just pop, skip, and turn. So that one is one that you can practice. We're not going to get into it today because, again, it will take too much time, but that's something that you can look into on your own if you enjoy this. What we're going to do is we're going to start in the position that you landed in that high school shuffle, where your feet are pointing in the direction you're going to throw it and your back. So what you want to do is rotate your feet. They don't have to be facing away for the log truck to go by. Part of living in the country. So you're going to place your feet almost like you're getting ready to run. You're going to rotate back, and you're going to place the shot put or your ball in your neck and point your arm kind of at the 45 where you want to go. You're going to rotate back. You're going to twist at your trunk, your waist, and you're going to lower yourself down. This allows you to load weight into your quads and your calves, and you're going to push up. As you push up, rotate the hips forward. So if you're outside and you can practice that right now, give it a try. So you're going to lower down, and you're not going to throw it yet. You're just going to rotate and push. You should be able to feel yourself kind of come up onto your toes. This, if you've taken my class, you'll learn is a biomechanical principle. We're going to transfer force and momentum from our toes all the way up to our trunk. As we rotate, we're going to rotate and transfer that force up into our shoulders, out through our elbow as we extend to our fingertips and throw. So as you do that, remember, you want plenty of force. It's thrown from your hips, your elbow, and then your hand. All right, so now let's give it a try. I'm not going to throw it far because I'm facing a tree line and I don't want to chase into the woods. So rotate down. As you come up, you're going to point, and you're going to expand your chest out forward. And as you extend, whenever your elbow gets out and you extend, you flick your wrist. So you can see it will roll right off your fingertips. So as it comes out of your neck, flick, and it will go out. So I'll give one a toss here, and now you can try it. You're going to rotate down, come up, and throw. Okay? Nice and easy. Said I'm not going to go far, because I don't want to chase it. Now this is where you can try it. You just have to walk back and forth, or you can have a partner, and you can practice putting the shot back and forth to each other. So let's try again. Down, up, and throw. Okay? So why don't you give yourself a couple practice rounds while I go grab that, and then we're going to move on to the long jump. While you practice, I'm going to throw a couple, put them up on the roof again so you can see them go. Remember, it's all about footwork and transfer of momentum. Just because if you see this done in like the Olympics, it's always some huge person throwing it. Well, muscle helps with this event, but it's not the only thing. Technique in track and field, whether you're doing jumps, throws, or running, technique is what makes somebody good go to great. So you want to practice the basic technique. Down into it, and shot it up onto the roof. For me, I'm from me. One more, and then we'll move on. I want to take all of your time on one event. So I'll do it this way again, so you can see. Feet pointed, come down, so you can see I'm rotated away from the direction I'm going to throw. I got my legs kind of into an athletic position, my elbow up, and as I come out, chest is forward, and push it out. Okay. So let's go ahead and take a minute here, and we'll go over the long jump. Now for this one, typical long jump would require a really long running lane and sand pit to land in. So now since I might have a really long running lane, but I only have a sandbox, a kid's sandbox to land in, I won't be doing that one. So we're going to do a standing long jump. Now again, for my long jump in the actual event, I'd run, I believe it was 97 feet 4 inches was how long I ran up before I jumped. And as you come up, there's a white board that you're set on. I jumped off my left leg. So you jump off of one leg. For standing long jump, though, for what we're going to do today, just to learn the technique of how to jump, we're going to jump off of both our legs, okay? So what you need to do is give yourself a little bit of room. You want a flat area. My yard is fairly flat. Make sure there's no hazards in the way. We don't necessarily want to jump as far as what we can right off the bat until you kind of learn how to land, because if you land improperly, you could sprain an ankle, and that takes a long time to heal. You don't want to do that. I've had a couple sprained ankles, and they do slow you down quite a bit. So to do this, let me come into the camera again, a little closer. You want your feet about shoulder width apart, roughly. Some people like a little bit wider. Some people like a little bit narrower. I think narrower kind of lets your hips get in your own way. So I like to be just a little bit past shoulder width apart. You want your toes pointing forward. You want to be standing upright. Then you're going to kind of get on your toes, balls of your feet, and lower down. Once you're down, you're going to see that my knees stay in line with my toes, so I'm not way out and I'm not sitting too far back. So you keep your knees kind of in line with your toes. You can rock back onto your heels if you need to. Most people prefer to do that. Gives you a little bit of a momentum boost, but you're not taking any steps into it. So you're going to rock back, and this kind of lets you kind of keep your legs loaded. You're going to spring up, throw your hips forward, and come up off of your toes and jump into the air. Now, so that's what your legs do. For your arms, you want your arms to be back. As you come up and jump, you're going to throw them forward out in front of you. Most people, what they do whenever they're doing the actual long jump is they jump in the air. Whenever they come up, their arms come around, and they reach forward with their towards their toes. That allows you to throw as much momentum forward and carry that from your run. As we're not running, we're still going to try to do that. It's just not going to be quite as effective as if you had a long approach. So back up a little bit. We're going to practice at first with just getting down into position, rock back onto the heel of your foot, and then we're just going to do a light jump forward, okay? We're not jumping as far as we can, and we're not really working on getting our legs around yet. You're just rocking backwards on the heels. So if you want to give this a try with me, go ahead. If you want to watch another one, that's fine. Rock back, get down. Notice my heels, my knee is in line with my toe, so I'm not overextending or risking my knee. Down, back, and forward, okay? Now we're going to start to add in a little bit of footwork with the landing. Now, as you can see, all I'm doing in those last two is I'm kind of jumping and letting my legs hang. Not quite how you want to do it, but it's a good start to learn your takeoff. You want to explode out. I'll have to show you with one leg because I can't do two without following. So as you jump up and you get your hips forward, your legs will be a little bit behind you. You're going to rotate them out and around you. So you can kind of bring them up and forward, drive the knees, kick them out, or you can bring them up, drive the knees sideways, and rotate in. It's really preference. A lot of people might have issue and trouble with mobility and bringing their legs around because you could pull a groin or a hamstring muscle, but that's kind of the prevailing technique is to come around. I'm going to try and demonstrate that. So same footwork, same legs and takeoff, but instead of just hopping, I'm going to try to explode out and bring my legs forward, okay? It's been a little while since I've done it, so let's hope nothing bad happens. Get down, walk back, a little bit of the hill, back, arms back, jump forward. Now, as you saw, I landed pretty close together. In long jump, whenever you land in the sand pit, they take the closest backwards mark. So whenever you land, I'm landing on my feet. Most of the time when you're landing in the sandpit, you kind of land on your butt a little bit. It's important to never fall backwards, because if my feet land here and I fall backwards, it goes from my hand. So you can see I lose 2 feet of my jump. There's been ladies on my team actually whose ponytail was too long and hit the sand, so they lost a good foot or 2 from their jump. I obviously don't have that problem, so mine is all if I fall backwards. So let's give that another try. Remember, the goal is to land and then forward so that you're not falling backwards. Okay? And remember to be careful. Don't jump as far as you can until you're used to it. And then once you do that, maybe you can have some competitions with your parents or your siblings or your friends to see who can jump further. Walk back. You can even sway a little bit to kind of get yourself in position. And jump out. Okay? Pretty simple. Go ahead and give yourself a few test jumps. I'm going to grab it quickly. Very high. And I'll prep for what will be our next one. Go ahead and take a few jumps on your own. Then we're going to go into discus. Another few seconds here. All right. So if you have a discus available, this can kind of be our mock-up of our frisbee available because be a mock-up of our discus. Now this is much bigger than an actual discus, but also much lighter. Now the discus that I used was roughly the size of this inner circle here, maybe a little bit bigger, about the size of my hand. Okay, so this is a little bit bigger, and like I said, it's not quite shaped like a discus because the discus comes to a point and then triangles out in both directions and then comes back down. So it's not real flat like this, but a little heavier. Now for discus, it's very similar mechanics as what the Shotput had in terms of how you get your feet, how you get your chest up, your arm out, and then you throw it. Now to hold a discus, it's pretty easy. What you would do is you place your hand on it and you get your fingers around the edges. A little bit of a curl. You don't want to be too far up because then you have no grip, and too far over makes it really hard to release. So you just want just on the tips of your fingers, and that takes a little bit to get used to because you got to practice being able to control it from there. But if you have too much, like I said, you're going to lose power on your throw. Too little, you're going to lose control of your throw. So you need to find that little bit of a sweet spot on a frisbee. Kind of flattens out right there, so that's where I aim to be. A discus, it's a lot more pointed, and actually it's a little bit easier to grip than a frisbee for this technique. But so you want it on the edge, and you want all 4 of your fingers there, and then your thumb is kind of out wide to keep balance. Now the prevailing idea for most new people when it comes to discus, whenever you're releasing, so you bring it backwards and it's kind of sideways like that, and as you come forward, you rotate around for the release. Now most people when they're new to it, they want to release like this and throw pinky to index. So they'll rotate out and then they'll rotate their wrist in and try and get it to spin that way. It's actually the exact opposite of how you want to do it. What you want is to come out and release with your pinky squeezing first and go into your index finger, and you're going to rotate your wrist out instead of in. So you rotate out and you squeeze. Now how I was trained to do this is if you're holding like a wet bar of soap and you want to squeeze it up out of your hand, start from the bottom and squeeze up. So you do each finger individually. If you do them all at once, you won't get any rotation.
Hold on 1 second, Jordan. My phone is overheating. Val, can you hear me?
I can, yes.
Okay, I'm getting a message that my phone is overheating. Just so you know, if you guys happen to lose me, that's what's happening.
Okay.
Okay?
Very fun.
Yeah, we'll keep going.
All right. So like I was saying, so if you have like a bar of soap and you want to pop it out of the top of your hand, you start and you just squeeze from the bottom all the way up. Go all at the same time, you won't have control, you'll get no rotation, and won't go as far. You go the wrong way, you won't have as much control because you're going to be releasing then off of your weakest finger, your pinky. You want to be releasing off your strongest finger up top. So as you squeeze, that's going to give it rotation as it comes out of your hand. Okay? So we can practice here.
Mr. Stonebraker, why don't we take a break and I'll walk in the shade.
Okay.
So we're going to switch our filming angle in the hopes of keeping my phone from passing out. So hang with us for a second. I'm going to relocate and then we'll pick right back up with Mr. Stonebraker doing the discus. Thanks everybody for your patience.
I think that should help, hopefully. All right, so for this one, we're going to practice from just a standing position where we're going to keep our feet about shoulder width apart. I'm going to face this way so that I don't throw it at the camera. And I'm not going to throw it very far because, again, I don't want to chase it and waste your time. So we're just going to bring it back, and we're going to practice that release. So you just rotate your arm back and throw it a little bit, okay? Just nice, easy throw. So this is where having a partner would come really in hand because I could just pick it up and throw it back. So I will just be my own partner here. So let's do it again. Practice that throw. As you can see, with the frisbee, it's a little bit wobbly because one, I'm not throwing very hard to get a good rotation, and two, it's a frisbee. It's meant to be thrown like this. It's a little different, made a little different. So again, nice, easy. Practice that finger movement, that squeeze from the back to the front, and rotate the wrist out. One more, and then we'll move on. A little bit of footwork. Back and throw. All right. Now remember, like I said, this is very baseline bottom technique to get you interested in it or trying it to see if it's something you like. So don't join your track team next spring and try to use this and get mad at your coach if he's telling you a little bit more advanced technique, because Mr. Stonebraker said it at school that you do it this way. Remember, this is very baseline for you to practice it with the equipment that you might have readily available. Okay? So for this one, your throw is a lot like if you were doing this for real, the rotation like I showed you for the Shotput. Now we're not going to do it for this, but I will still demonstrate it. So if I was throwing that direction, you actually start, you have a throwing circle that's, I believe, about from here, roughly here, wide. And it's just a big circle. So you'll start at the back of the circle, facing away from where you want to throw. And you'll kind of load into it a couple of times, and then you'll rotate and throw. So that allows you, as you can see, I didn't let go, but as you rotate, that allows you to build up momentum in your arm. And as we learned in, or if you take my class in biomechanics, that allows you to take the momentum from your spin, load it into your legs, bring it up, and as you extend your chest forward, transfer it down your arm and throw it out. That allows you to get more oomph, momentum into your throw. But for this, we're going to start from what would be the position you land in. So you land here. See, exact same position as the Shotput. Arms are going to be up, arms back, legs are loaded. You're going to step and throw. So let's practice from that footwork. So kind of in that running stance again. Have it held, rotate back, load your legs, and step and throw. Okay? Let's give those a couple practice throws. Remember, we're not working on that rotation. I just wanted to show you what it would look like. We're just working on what would be the actual throw. Okay? So one more from me, and then I'll let you practice a few while I get ready for the next one. Okay? So in this position, if it helps, you can start in that running position. If you're right-handed like me, you want your left leg forward. Okay? If you're left-handed, like I believe my 3-year-old is, you want your right leg forward. But I'm not going to make a fool of myself trying to throw left-handed. So left leg forward, right leg back, in the direction that you want to throw. rotate down. Remember, hold it sideways at first, but as you come up, you're going to turn your wrist so it's flat. Do it like this, it's just going to wobble, not go very far. You want it nice and flat for the aerodynamics. So, come back, rotate back, and throw. Good. That was the last one. It spiraled into the woods, so I'm not going to get that one. So go ahead and give yourself a couple practices. So grab some equipment and bring it back over towards us. I'm not going to start with the broom yet. We're going to give our arms a break. We're going to do a triple jump. Now this one's going to be similar to our long jump, but a little bit different because you jump 3 times. We're going to wait just in case there's a log truck going by again. Nope, just a regular truck. So for the triple jump, it's kind of a deceiving name. You do jump 3 times, but it's more of a hop, a skip, and then a jump. So I jump off my left leg first. So what I actually do for this one is I would jump off my right leg first, the triple jump. So I jump off my left leg because it's my stronger leg. I'm more balanced with that leg for the long jump, but that's the last part of the triple jump. I'll show you what I mean. So I'm going to try and do it in place here. So as you're running down the runway, like I said, it's roughly 100 feet. For me, at least. Other people much longer, other people shorter. It's all preference and how quickly you can get up to an optimal speed for your jump. And as you do that, so you're going to jump off of what would be my right foot. Then you're going to hop forward. And then you're going to skip to your next leg, which would be your left. And then from here, you're going to jump out. Okay? So it's very difficult to master. It's a very difficult event. I did not do it often because I was a decathlete and there's a high risk of spraining your ankle in this one. So we're going to be very cautious with this. You want nice flat area and we're not trying to go as far as we can, okay? If you try to go as far as you can, you don't have a sand pit to land in. You could roll your ankle. This won't be good. So make sure you have proper footwear on. I have nice athletic shoes. I have a nice flat area. And we'll practice it. Now, we don't want any run up because, again, we have a run up to it. You might be jumping too far, too hard, without the proper equipment, without the proper foot placement area. Like a track is nice and smooth and flat, and you don't have a landing area like a sand pit. So let's practice again. I start with the opposite foot of my jump foot because it's a hop, then a skip, then a jump. So you jump off of your first one, or you hop off your first leg, and you land on that same leg. So it's a hop. Once you land on there, you know once you skip from one leg to the other. So now I'm going to skip my left leg, and then from here, I jump out like we're long jumping. So I'll do it back again. As you can see, I covered quite a bit of distance in just those 3 hops. Hop, skip, jump. Hop, skip, jump. Okay? And as you get a little more confident, you can go a little bit faster with it. But I said, be careful with this one. It's a little bit more difficult. But once you master it, it is a lot of fun. Let's do one more. Okay? So hop, skip, go. How easy it is to slip and fall. So if you want to practice that, I will get the next equipment. Parents might not like this one.
Sorry, the stabilizer's having a moment. Okay, there we go.
All right, so this one is to practice the javelin. As you can see here, I have a very old broom. I suggest you find an old broom. So we're going to be throwing it. And I don't know about your parents. Mine, if I were to throw my mom's good broom, she'd hit me with it. So find an old broom, an old stick, something like that. It doesn't have to be heavy. Javelins are actually quite light. Now to practice this, I'll just show one, and then we'll go over the technique. We're going to be in the exact same position, again, as our shot put and our discus. Noticing a trend here, because the biomechanics of it allow you to transfer the most momentum into the object you're throwing. So you step into it, step, and throw. Okay. Now this one is a little bit more, let's call it dangerous for your area. What you want is to do it nice and easy. Now I have a nice big backyard here with no neighbors, so I can heave this as far as I want and not cause risk to anybody else. What you might have a much smaller yard. You might be in a much more confined area. You might have a house in the way, windows in the way, people in the way. So don't heave it far if you can't. And work on just the technique before you try to throw it as far as you can. Because with the wrong technique, you really hurt your shoulder on this one, okay? So to start, now a javelin is very long. It's about taller than me, depending on what, age range you're in, age group, and your gender. So whenever I was sewing, they were the college ones, they were pretty long. Now what they're missing on this is they have a little bit of a binding around them for your handhold. There's multiple different handholds that you can do, but the basic one we're going to learn is you just grab like that. So I have two fingers on it tight, my thumb on one side pressing against my index finger that's back. Some people like the index finger on it. I prefer to be curled around slightly. And then, although you can put your pinky on, you can. If not, mine's always just kind of down on my palm. Then, as you bring it back, your arm will be extended, and you can see my wrist is in line with my shoulder. So it's one straight line all the way up. You don't want it bent. You want your elbow cocked nice and straight. This allows you to keep the most amount of distance and to throw. So you want to be able to transfer the most momentum. You need to have it as far away as you can. Again, as you'll learn in my actual class. Now for this, the handhold on a javelin is so that it's balanced. Now, as you can see, my broom is one, short, and has this big thing on the back. So I have to hold a little bit back to find where it's balanced at. Because if I hold up here and I try to throw, probably just gonna hit myself with the back of the broom. If I hold too far back, it's gonna keep wanting to drop. So you gotta kind of get a little bit further back than what you would on an actual javelin. Now for this, again, same footwork as before. Now you can even take a step if you want. This is called the Pamunkey. So you step over like that. So it's not a shuffle. You step over. So mine, since I'm right-handed, my right leg is back, my left leg is forward. You would step over your left, rotate, and then step into it with a nice deep step. This allows me to be fully extended, my arms out. And if you do yoga, this kind of looks like the warrior pose. Step out, and then you turn and you throw straight forward, okay? Now, most of the time, if you ever watch this on TV or you've seen it live, whenever they do that and they throw, they end up coming off the ground because there's just so much momentum. The difference with javelin and the other two throws is javelin has a run-up approach, just like a long jump or a triple jump would or a pole vault would. So there's a long runway, and then there's a big wide area where you throw from. So what typically happens is you'll see they'll be running like this. And as they run, they start rotating back. They get themselves in position and they start running sideways. And they do that big pop, penalty, step, turn, and throw. So let's give it a couple practice throws. I'm not going to throw it far again. So let's start from just this position. Don't throw hard at first. It can really hurt your arm. Just turn your hips, get your chest nice and high, lean, and throw. Okay. Nice arcing movement. I'll do it back again. So I'll find that nice balance area. This time I'm going to step into it, step, and throw. Now the goal, again, like all the other throws, is to go for distance. So you don't want to throw it too high, you don't want to throw it too low. You want to get in that nice kind of 45-degree angle thrown at the horizon. You throw it too low, go straight into the ground. Throw too high, a javelin is long enough will actually drag along the ground if you're aiming too high. Whenever you throw it, or you kick the back end out, it'll fly sideways, it won't go as far, doesn't stick, makes it a little harder to measure. So again, if you want to, try to do that step in, turn, and throw. If you're not comfortable with that yet, you can just turn the hips, get yourself back, turn, and throw. I'll do one more, and then I think that's about it for this one. All right. I'll do one more of a harder step. Right, so as you get more confident with that, or as you start to build up strength, you can start to try and throw it a little bit further. I know it's just a broom, or it's just a softball or frisbee, but this was all about just getting you something to try at home, since we're all kind of still in lockdown or not really allowed to go too many places. And it's a sport that you can actually join in your own area. Okay, so if you have any questions, you can ask them here, or you can feel free to email me. I'll check my email during the summer. You might get a response back that I'm not in the office, but I'll check. All right, so any questions or concerns? Go ahead and relay them. If not, that's pretty much it from my end.
All right, there's nothing in the chat right now, but if anybody has any questions, feel free to put them in and I will ask Mr. Stonebraker whatever questions you guys have. And thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with us, Jordan. I hope you guys all enjoyed that session. That was really cool. There was a question, what city do you live in?
What city do you live in?
I live in a small town called Luthersburg. It's closest to Du Bois, kind of between Du Bois and Clearfield. I guess we're about 2.5 hours outside of Pittsburgh, so kind of central PA.
Cool, cool.
As you can see from my yard, more of the woods than a city.
Alrighty, well, we got some feedback that people said that was a lot of fun. Rishi says, I like the javelin throw. So thanks again, Jordan. And I'm just gonna hop back on the camera here to just give them some reminders, but thanks again so much for sharing everything with us. Okay. So, thanks again, everybody. As a reminder, this was recorded, so it will be on our YouTube page within the next 48 hours. As a reminder, you can look for more of our sessions on our website as well as our Facebook page. And then all the sessions will be updated. And you can RSVP to more sessions. This is week 3, and we're doing this for 6 weeks. So we have a lot more coming for you. Tomorrow's session is the York Revolution. We were there during the first week of our camp, and a lot of people had fun with that. So we're going to go back there, and we're excited to learn more. I'm just seeing here. Stephen did have a question. Can you use the javelin throw for paper airplanes?
Mr. Stonebraker, can you?
So I believe you could. However, you would probably want to use a heavier paper, like a construction board paper or something. And you might have to mess around with the design of the paper airplane. But you could probably work it out. Your standard paper airplane, though, you might end up hurting your shoulder if you try to throw too hard. But try a little heavier cardboard stock or something.
There you go. Thank you. Is there any other questions for Mr. Stonebraker? Anybody? All righty. Well, thank you so much for coming to this session. Be sure to fill out your PA Virtual passport with what you learned. You can fill it out again, so if you've already handed in your first passport, you can certainly send in another passport when you complete another 6 sessions, and you'll get another PA Virtual prize. Thanks again for coming, and have a great rest of your day, and we're excited to see you in another session. Thanks, everyone.